Okay, so welcome back to the Northern Nerd Network. My name is Dan Schessel, and on today's edition of the Nerdcast, we have none other than Chelsea, the most amazing and well-lit Chelsea Thompson.
Hey!
We can actually see you this time.
I know, I got a new computer, and the aperture on this camera is significantly better, so I don't always look like I'm in the dark. Hooray!
Huzzah! And on today's edition of the Nerdcast, we have Andrew-David. Say hello.
Hello.
And he is from MADSOFT Games, and we'll be talking about MADSOFT later on in the episode. But first off, we'd like to talk just a little bit about us. I don't know. We just like to get things rolling a little bit.
Check in, see how everybody's doing. How was their week?
Exactly. So how was everyone's week? We'll start with Andrew, because you're our guest. How was your week?
My week was pretty stressful. We're launching a Kickstarter tomorrow morning, actually. So all week it's just been preparing for that, getting the updates ready, getting all the content ready, putting the video together, doing some shooting, just reaching out to press, and it's just I've barely got any sleep in the past days.
Well, you are in luck because you're already on our show, so you get some extra press here. But I mean, you've been like crazy busy. Tell us a little bit about what you're kickstarting here.
We're kickstarting our upcoming PlayStation 4 title, Me and My Dinosaur. We're already really deep in development, and the game's ready to be released this year in the fourth quarter, but we're just hoping that Kickstarter will give us the additional, not just funds, but also reach, I guess.
Exposure?
To help us finish up the project and polish it nicely, and maybe get in some additional content in form of stretch goals that we wanted to do but couldn't because of our financial restrictions. But yeah, it'll be coming to PlayStation 4 and then early next year PC and OS X.
Awesome. Well, I've been actually kind of watching your little Kickstarter thing here last little while, and it looks really good. So check that out when you guys get a chance. But Chelsea.
Yeah.
How was your week? Did you have a good week? Did you have fun?
I did, yeah. My week was pretty good. The weather here has been gorgeous. And Friday was parent-teacher conferences, so the kids got early dismissal. So then I hung out with a few of the kids who were in out-of-school care, and we took them on a field trip. We went out and about in the neighborhood. I live, and the school is situated in a really great neighborhood, actually in New Westminster in the Greater Vancouver area, which is a really nice little city along the Fraser River. So they have a really nice river market and quay. So we walked the kids down the hill to the river market and had lunch outside and got some gelato at the river market, and then walked down along the river. There's a really nice park system all in along the river. Spent the afternoon outside in the sunshine. It's glorious. And then on Saturday I got to play some Star Wars D&D, and we stole ourselves a new ship. It was a pretty great little game on Saturday night. And again, with my new laptop and the camera, I wasn't sitting in the dark. People could actually see me, so it was pretty great. A good week.
Awesome.
Yeah, we. Did you say Star Wars D&D?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
So Dan is our GM. The Star Wars Edge of the Empire and Force of Destiny and Age of Rebellion.
Nope. Edge of Empire.
Edge of the Empire? Yeah.
Yes.
But it's split up into three.
Yes,
the one we
parts,
don't have is Age of Rebellion, but that's the
one.
Did you get it?
We do now.
Ooh, so much fun.
That's thanks to one of the members in our group. He picked that one up.
Did Pals
so now we have
that?
all 3 books. Yeah, Pal's got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
So yeah,
I got a lot of stuff to read here now. To get.
it's super fun. Build yourself a bounty hunter or Jedi or corrupt politician or whatever you want and go gallivanting across the galaxy on
Yes,
adventures.
we have an addicted politician in our group.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. But yes, anyways, that was on Saturday, and also
How's your week, Dan?
mine was super busy. So for me, I got to go to the premiere of Hardcore Henry, which just happened on Wednesday. We were able to take. Say what?
Oh, you froze for a minute.
Oh, I know my computer's a little bit wonky today. But anyways, so we got to go to the premiere of Hardcore Henry. That was on Wednesday. We had advanced screening tickets, so we gave away just a bunch of these tickets to a lot of our fans and some of our network. We gave away, I think, like 18 tickets or something like that to go to this movie. It was a lot of fun. So I mean, just in general, going to see Hardcore Henry was just a great movie. Like, just, oh my goodness, what a blast. First person, based on, like, you know, your first person shooters. But yeah, it was just a great time. There was some parts that just kind of made absolutely no sense, and the acting was kind of shoddy at best sometimes, but it was just so much fun. There was so much crazy, over-the-top death action. There was just it was just a wild roller coaster. It's so good. If you haven't gotten a chance to go see Hardcore Henry, I do highly recommend it. Go take not a kid to see that movie. Really good dark humor in it, and a lot more fun than Batman versus Superman.
Okay.
I finally saw Batman versus Superman.
Did you?
And
we did too.
I don't know. I haven't formed a complete opinion about it yet. I think I might have to watch it one more time before I do. But I certainly don't feel like it deserves as much of the, like, this movie's terrible as it's been getting. It certainly wasn't a bad movie. So that was what surprised me. I feel like it's getting way more harsh press than it deserves. So
I have to admit, I actually liked Ben Affleck as Batman. I liked Henry Cavill as Superman. I loved Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. I just think that there was just too much going on, and I think there was a lot of places where the writing was really bad in that movie, especially at the beginning. The first, like, hour and a half, 2 hours was kind of slow. But once it did get going, that last little bit was great.
Fighting Doomsday.
Oh, so good. So good. Yeah, so I don't want to get too much into, like, spoilers and stuff like that, but yeah, I liked it, but at the same time it was really, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite, but at the same time I think it was just really, it was two movies that were kind of
trying to squished into one.
Which didn't go very well. So that's what I think is the problem.
But Hardcore Henry, worth it for the cinematography alone?
Oh my goodness. I was just smiling the whole time. Like, it was so good. It was just some absolutely brutal deaths and like way over the top action. And oh my goodness, one of my friends, he was sitting down in the front row because they got there just a little bit not late, but the theater filled up, right, because of the advanced screening.
Yeah.
And so they got there like about a half an hour before, but they had to sit right down at the front. And he's just like, I think this is how Neo must have felt when he got the Matrix downloaded into him, and this is how he had to learn how to fight and stuff. because it was just like bang, 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 like super fast. Yeah. I would not suggest sitting down in the front row.
If you go to see it, sit farther back.
Sit a little bit further back. But yeah, the humor in there was really good and spot on. Yeah, it was pretty fun. I had a great time. I would recommend going to see it for sure.
Well, in other fun movie news,
I have one more thing before we continue on.
yeah.
Yes. On Saturday, we had a podcast meetup that we went to. I managed to actually get Trina to come with me this time because
Awesome.
we ditched the kids on Friday night to go see Batman v Superman, and so on Saturday we still were kidless, and so we decided to go to the podcast meetup together. And so yeah, this is hosted by Karen Unland and the Seen and Heard podcast
Yes.
down at Barrington Edition Comics, and you know I love going there because I mean I get to meet some just amazing podcast people. I get to meet the whole community, or a lot of the community, anyways. And it's just a great place to just meet people. This is sort of where I met Ben Yendall. He was on our episode last week.
Yes.
But yes,
Talking
it was
more about Star Wars D&D.
Yeah, and I mean it's such a great place for us for me to learn a lot more about what we're doing and how to make this better for everybody else out there. And if anyone out there has suggestions to make this better, feel free to just let us know. You guys can get a hold of us in so many different ways, but we'll get to that all later. But yeah, that was my week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, more fun movie news.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens is coming to DVD. I can imagine that you're going to rush out and get that immediately.
The Force Awakens on Blu-ray? When we've already watched it like 3 times. Yeah, we've already picked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's it's The Force Awakens. It was so good. But yes, we did pick it up. Did you manage to get it to Andrew? Andrew-David?
The Blu-ray?
Yeah.
No.
No, not yet.
I haven't. Actually, I haven't really picked up a Blu-ray in a really long time. It's just been theaters and Netflix for me. But I guess this one is one of the ones I should own. Like, I only buy the ones that are really like, this is something that I need to have just because it's just like so big.
Yeah.
I mean, the last Blu-ray I bought. Yeah, the last Blu-ray I bought must have been Dread. Oh no, it was the MCU Phase 1 suitcase that had like all the first Marvel movies in it.
Nice.
Oh, you got one of the. Oh yeah, I wanted that so bad.
Nice.
I could not pass that one through. I couldn't pass that one through Trina. She just did not want to let it go. Sadly enough. But yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I don't usually buy Blu-rays at all, or movies, because yeah, you're right. You just go to movie theaters or you go find it on Netflix. But yeah, I couldn't pass up buying The Force Awakens. It's one of those ones you have to have in the collection somewhere.
Well,
I mean, I have all the other ones, and I have a small child that watches them like on repeat, so.
Always good to have.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so that came out. But also in Star Wars news, we also have a brand new trailer that came out.
The Rogue One trailer.
Yes, the one that confused everybody. Like, I got so many like messages going, like, or like I was talking to people like, is that another like Death Star? Like, what are they doing?
How did it confuse people?
People.
Well, did they not know the plot of Rogue One? The original Death Star is still there. Rogue One is the guys who steal the plans for the original Death Star that they use in A New Hope to blow it up.
Yeah. The trailer shows Mon Mothma from Return of the Jedi, and it shows the AT-ATs. Just by looking at these two scenes, you'd immediately understand that. It shows the old the old Stormtrooper outfits. So, I mean, it's very obviously a prequel. Even if you don't know the story of Rogue One, you just know these iconic AT-ATs and Star Wars, Stormtrooper suits, and you'd immediately understand that.
Well, and let's be honest, we live in the age of Google. If you Google anything about Rogue One, the plot synopsis shows up and it tells you that's what's happening.
I know, and you know what? So many people got confused by that because they thought it was the next movie, and I'm like,
no,
it's not the next movie. It's
separate mini prequels as filler to keep people so they're not waiting a full 2 or 3 years between big movies. They only have to wait a year. There's 3 of them, so that people only have to wait a year between the big ones. Not that Rogue One won't be big on its own, but
they're calling them anthology films, which makes sense because each one explores a different story.
Yeah, and I'm like absolutely super excited for all of this. I mean, it's gonna be so good. Like, it looks like the cinematography that you're looking for in a Star Wars movie, and it looks like it's gonna be super action packed. So. Plus, you get to see how they...
continuing on with the, kick-ass female lead train. Yeehaw, I can get behind that.
Always. So, yeah, super excited. That was amazing. Yeah. Awesome.
I love how giddy it makes you, Dan.
All right, so let's... What else do we have here?
We have a few other news items. Actually, we've got some really cool art in this evening's news. So there's an artist from the Netherlands, a Dutch artist named Theo Jansen, who started creating what he describes as living sculptures all the way back in 1990 called sand beasts that he specifically, I guess, takes to the coast, to the beaches, and they're wind-powered. They're made entirely of recycled plastic and PVC and things like that, and the wind moves them to make them look like they're alive, the way he builds them, the way they're structured. They have a central axis, so their bodies always stay in the same position. But they have feet or legs that move them along the sand and lift up so they're able to step over obstacles. So it's living art, which is really cool. The link that we posted on our Facebook page has a video of them in action, and you're right, they really do look like they're alive. And he says he's said in a few interviews since he started building them, and actually he's done a TED Talk about them and all kinds of stuff, that in the future he wants to equip them with artificial intelligence to keep them from walking into the ocean and quote-unquote drowning. Which is really cool, and they're mesmerizing to watch.
Yes,
if you watch the video, they look so cool.
They are very, very neat. I've never, like you said, you've never seen anything like it, and it's amazing that they still stand, even though they look like they're so wobbly and they're all over the place there. But yeah, it is really something else to take a look at.
It's. I guess as a game developer, this is the kind of, I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but whenever a 2D physics engine is being built, one of the most popular ones is called Box 2D. They build within the engine something that looks very similar to those sand beasts that has it's kind of like a spider and it has like cross-stitched legs.
Modeled first, right?
Yeah, and it always moves the exact same way as these sand beasts. And I think the reason why they're wobbly but they never fall is just like the fundamentals of physics.
The mechanics of how they're
actually built. There's a lot of science behind it too. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's just amazing, and like you said, mesmerizing just to look at. They're kind of old, but I mean they're still cool.
If you Google the artist, Theo James, whose name is in the link that we have posted. But if you just Google his name, his TED Talk comes up, and his TED Talk is super cool.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah. What else? We've got some other fun stuff. Speaking of cool science making its way into real-life applications, a fleet of self-driving trucks has just completed a week-long platooning challenge across Europe. So again, the Dutch, ever innovative and pushing forward for sustainable renewable energy, currently are moving into their presidency of the European Union in 2016. And so this is part of their renewable energy sort of platform that they're pushing for the European Union. So they're big on getting self-driving vehicles becoming an actual thing in Europe, especially in the business industry, for sustaining fuel costs. So the article that we've got linked talks a bit about what platooning is, and that's the ability of trucks that are self-driving, navigated by GPS and linked to the other trucks by Wi-Fi, are able to get a lot closer together. And that's called platooning, when they drive in sync really, really close to one another and basically draft behind one another, which they're able to do safely where humans can't, not so much, because sustaining that distance at that speed isn't really safe. But that saves on fuel costs like crazy. Plus, they're able to drive continuously, unlike drivers who have to stop, so they can make the journey in much less time, also saving on fuel costs. So their goal is sort of for the next 5 years to create a practical plan of how to make self-driving, I guess, trucks for delivery from the port in Rotterdam in the Netherlands to the rest of Europe an actual practical thing that happens for the European Union, which is really cool. In 5 years, that it could be, a commonplace thing.
This just amazes me. A, because I just love self-driving anything, and B, because like the amount of stuff that it would just save. A, in fuel, A, in like accidents on the road, B, like, I mean, there's so many practical applications for something like this, and I mean, it just the list can go on and on and on. But the thing that just amazes me is that you just put a load of stuff in the back of a truck and just push a button and away it goes, and then it just shows up at the next place. I don't see drivers liking this too much though. If you're a truck driver, you're probably not going to enjoy a robot taking your job.
Probably not, but that's the thing, every generation before, when something has innovated and people have no longer been the way to do it, then it just means a matter of, someone has to program the robots who are driving the trucks. So rather than driving the truck, you become a programmer who programs the robot who drives the truck. It's just a matter of the next step of evolution in the labor force, I think. And as tough as it is, and the practicalities of, someone losing their job, and that's never fun and never a good situation, I think it's a good moment to sort of pause and reflect and see, reevaluate, well, where are the jobs? Do I need to retrain? Where do I need to go next? Rather than trying to fight for, something that isn't necessarily sustainable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's, like I said, there's so many cool things. I am all for the vehicles driving me around. I want this day to happen. I just want to get into a car. I don't want to think about driving anymore.
Well, I think my favorite statistic is like how competent self-driving cars actually are. I think in the 5 years that Google's been doing road tests on the self-driving car, the Google car has been in 4 accidents, but all of them were other people's fault. Other people hitting the Google car. The Google car has never been at fault in any of the accidents that it's had, which I think is proof positive case in point that like human error is the thing we should be worried about here.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, you're right. All the accidents have been human error. I even think that the one time where it was the car's fault, it was someone who took control of the car. So, I mean, yeah, there's just so many. I just want it to happen. I just want to see. I want to drive in a driverless car.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Let me sit back and relax, and you can get me there.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to fall asleep, and you get me where I need to be. All right. Is that all we got?
Well, we've got one more, and this one's short and sweet, because whenever we can, we like to bring you uplifting news on the Nerdcast. And who doesn't love one of the paragons of nerdiness, Sir Patrick Stewart? This news item's a bit old. It happened back in 2014 at Dragon Con. But there was a young fan who was attending through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. She had a particular illness and was contacted by Make-A-Wish and was able to attend Dragon Con because she was a huge Star Trek fan and heard that the entire cast of Star Trek was going to be at that particular Dragon Con. And through the Make-A-Wish and the organizers of Dragon Con, word got around to Sir Patrick that she was going to be attending and was a huge fan and was there through a Make-A-Wish. And so secretly, he set up a meet and greet for her and her whole family, her parents and her two sisters. And so she got to meet one of her idols, Captain Picard, in a surprise meet and greet. Not only did she get to go to Dragon Con, but then that happened as well. So, we always love sharing that. It's always nice to hear stories of, our nerdy icons being awesome people as well.
This is totally the producer of the show and her absolute love of Patrick Stewart. She just absolutely loves him, and so therefore, anytime she finds any kind of news about him, and she's like, and I cried, so she had to put it in.
Right in the feels.
Yeah, right in the feels. So yes, it was. I mean, yeah, it's old, but I mean, it's still a good story. So.
It is, yeah. Oh. But now we're gonna jump right into all the questions for Andrew-David.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Are you ready? Because this is where it gets intense.
All right.
What is your name? No.
What's your favorite color?
Yeah, what's your favorite color? So yes, we do have Andrew-David from MADSOFT Games joining us today. So Andrew-David, what is MADSOFT Games? What do you do with MADSOFT?
Well, as the name implies, we make games.
Whoa!
I know. No, we've been making games since 2008, and obviously we're a very small independent studio. And late last year, we also started publishing games, mostly to help other local independent studios as well. And in terms of what I do specifically, I'm the director and lead developer. That means I manage the projects, I manage the team, and I make all the development. I do all the programming. I build the games themselves, but obviously, building a game is more than just code. There's the art, there's the animation, the music, the design, etc. So I'm fortunate that we have a pretty solid team working together on our games.
Being a small company, I imagine you wear all kinds of hats on a daily basis.
Yes, I do. If I were to use all my hats in my official title, it would be a paragraph rather than just director and lead developer.
Yes. Okay. So aside from Me and My Dinosaur that you were talking about earlier,
Mhm.
what are some of the other games that you guys have done?
Um, well, a lot of the games are still in development at the moment. Some of the ones we've released, though, include Space Chase, which is a free-to-play Flash game, Science, which is an Android game, and a couple other smaller Flash games that we don't really consider as part of our library anymore. Uh, I guess I didn't mention our history. When we started out, we used to do client projects, and we also used to do Flash games. So we were mostly based on Flash. I assume you know what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, so it was free web-based games, and um, eventually we moved on to developing larger titles. Some are still web-based, but others are for PC and consoles. So none of those are done yet. None of those have been released. But if you go to a website, you can see a lot of information regarding those, including a browser-based, massively multiplayer online game named Project
Nice.
Valeria, and an online trading card game named Avalon, um, and of course, Me and My Dinosaur, which is coming to PlayStation 4.
That's really exciting.
Okay. So I want to know a little bit more about this Me and My Dinosaur. What kind of game is this? What are people going to expect when they open up Me and My Dinosaur?
Okay, well, it's a puzzle platforming adventure game. It's 2D,
It's my
where you
favorite
play
kind of
as
game.
where you play as a boy and his pet dinosaur, um, whose name is Rex, and he's kind of like a big dog. He's he's not like the threatening kind of T-Rex. He's just like the
He's the
really
cutie kind of.
cute one. Yeah. Um, and the idea is you each have different strengths and weaknesses, and you have to play as both characters at the same time to solve puzzles as you adventure throughout the world. For example, Rex can't jump, but he's invulnerable to damage, while Hunter can swim, and he can jump on top of Rex's head, but he can't smash through obstacles, and he can't damage enemies. So you use these elements, these pieces, and you figure out ways around various different puzzles. And one of the things we're really pushing for is the game is family friendly, and we do have drop-in and drop-out co-op. And one of the things we're doing is, I don't know if you have any siblings, but I know that you have. Is it a son or a daughter? I know that you have a child.
I have two boys. One
Two
is
boys.
6 and one is 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not really playing games yet.
Well, no, he plays games. Oh yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah.
starting
He
them,
plays games.
starting them early, both of them. I
Oh
mean,
yeah. He
Neo's 6.
yeah, he's
so
6
he's
and
all
he
over
plays
games.
through all especially the Lego Star Wars. He just loves that one.
Okay.
Anything
Cool.
Lego,
All right.
he's awesome at those kind of games. He also I get him to play the old NES every so often.
Yes.
We play Mario together. We crack it open. I mean, he's good
That's
stuff.
cool.
Yeah, he's a good gamer. He plays yeah, he's got a little Game Boy, like the DS, and yeah, he does a lot of gaming on there. He's starting him young. He's good.
Okay. All right. Well, when I was a kid, I have two younger brothers, and we used to play NES and SNES and Sega Genesis games. And because they were younger than me, whenever we wanted to play any kind of co-op games, it would be really tough because they're too young to really like get a good grasp on the controls, and it would be frustrating. But at one point, we discovered games like Sonic 2 and Rocky and Rocky 2 on the SNES, and was it Rocky and Rocky 2? But those games, what they do is they give you an optional second player, where like Tails, right? Where Tails is invulnerable to damage. Tails can't die, and doesn't really do anything, but Tails flies around the screen, and you can lift up Sonic every once in a while, and it makes it feel like my younger brother is playing the game with me, and we're playing together, and we're having fun, and he's not really uh, interfering with my gameplay session. So instead of him just sitting next to me and pointing at the screen and be like, do this, go there, he can actually like just move around. And that's what we want to do with me and my dinosaur. If you have younger siblings or cousins or children, they can play with you, join in as Rex, and just run around the screen, and they're invulnerable to damage, and you guys can have fun together. And that's really the kind of thing we're hoping to bring back, because we don't really see that anymore.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely amazing. I'm definitely gonna have to take a look at this now because like I said, my boy, he just loves playing games, and if I want to play a game, even when I'm playing, like say, I mean, Lego, you really can't die in a lot of those games, right? You just kind of die and respawn, over and over again. But every so often, he likes to go one direction, and I have to go the other direction, and stretches the screen out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, still, we have a lot of fun together. But yeah, I love playing with him. He's so much fun.
All right.
Yeah, that sounds great. I gotta really look into more of this.
You should. Our Kickstarter goes live tomorrow morning, like I said earlier, and it will also be releasing a gameplay trailer and the new website at the same time. So hopefully all the information should be on there, everything you might want to know about the game.
Awesome. So you will also have like the last time I met you was at like Mad Jam, right?
Yeah.
How did that all go? Like, I mean, I was there for just a little bit of it, but how did it end? How'd you make out?
Well, that was back in January. There were 15 or 13 games made.
Wow.
They only. So I guess I should explain what Mad Jam is for people listening, because there's no context here. Mad Jam is a series of game jams that we host in Edmonton. And in case you don't know, a game jam is an event where you have to build a game within a limited amount of time, and with additional restrictions such as a theme. And in this case, we had a theme, and the developers had 48 hours. They formed teams of up to 5, and they had to build a game in 48 hours. And I don't know if you know how long a game takes to make, but it's definitely not 48 hours.
No.
So some of the games that came out of this were mind-blowing. It's just really hard to imagine, because the time restriction kind of enforces creativity. And because of this, you see some of the craziest ideas come out, and they just scramble them together because they only have so little time, and it's magical. The game's like, they're so much fun and so creative, and it's really cool. And we awarded the winners, and all the games are available to play online for free on the Mad Jam website, madjam.ca.
Yes. So, was there any that really stood out to you at all? Like, is there any that you thought were just pretty good?
I can't just choose one. That's harsh. But I mean, I can tell you the first prize winner was a game called Limus, I think, and the idea was you control multiple villagers of various sizes, and there's a curse on the village where every night a demon shows up and demands a certain formation from the villagers, and if you don't manage to pull off that formation before sundown, the demon eats everyone in the village. It's a little gruesome, but it was stylized to look very kid-friendly, which is hilarious. And basically, you control each villager individually, and you'd have to stack them up in the right order and make that formation, kind of like how cheerleaders do, human pyramids. And it was cool. It was a full game. There were various levels and a windscreen and everything. And it was really impressive how they made all of that in just 48 hours.
Yeah, I remember talking to quite a few people about their various games that they were working on, and yeah, there was some that sounded so amazing. I believe there was one where one person had to be was like it was a multiplayer game or something like that, and one person was like a warlock or something like that, and they were kind of against everybody else, and then you had to figure out who that person was.
Oh yeah, yeah. That is cool. It's a first-person game, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Um,
I just talked to the people. They were just telling me what their ideas were. So
okay. Yeah, there were 4 players, and you started around a campfire, and one of the players is a vampire,
that's
and
right.
the others had to figure out which one of the 4 players was the vampire by using like blaming each other or using context clues and it's just a very interesting like social experiment style game.
Yeah, that one just sounded really cool, and that's the one that kind of just I don't know somehow stuck in my head after all this time. But yes, you also do a thing the first of every Monday, don't you?
Yes, the the first Monday of every month.
The first Monday of every
Uh,
month. Yeah.
yes, that's called Game Camp. It's it's a local meetup for game developers, and we have almost 500 members at the moment. And
Wow.
it's not specifically game development. Like if you're interested in working on games, whether it's illustration or music or art or anything, and basically we get together, we have some talks, we have some news, and then you just mingle. So if you're working on a project, you can bring it with you, get some feedback, show it off. You can meet other people. Some people meet the teams that they end up working with at these events, and it's a like if you're interested in getting into the game industry, is a great starting point because you get to make those connections, you get to meet those people, um, and it's you learn so much from the talks and the guests that we get.
Yeah, that always it sounds so interesting. Like how does game camp work? Like how do you get involved in something like that?
How does a member get involved?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, well, if you go to the Meetup website, meetup.com/GameCamp Edmonton, we post the events on there, and we also have a public Slack team that all our members are part of. So you just join that. There's a link to that on the Game Camp Facebook page. You join that, and then you can chat with literally anyone from the local gaming industry. But yeah, that's all you have to do. You just got to join the meetup and then attend one of the monthly events.
That's awesome. Oh, I do have a few more questions for you. You do a ton of stuff here. Like you do, obviously, you're doing Game Camp, you're doing MADSOFT Games, you're doing
Okay.
Mad Jam. I mean, you're doing so much stuff. Why? Why are you doing?
Yeah,
It seems
I've been
crazy.
asked
I mean, I do a lot of stuff myself, but I mean, my goodness, you're just like.
um, well, I guess the proper answer to that would just be I'm insane, I guess. But seriously though, when I moved here from Montreal, and I don't know if you know about the game development scene in Montreal, in Quebec, but
Oh yeah.
it's really huge over there. There's Ubisoft, and there used to be THQ and Warner Brothers Studio and EA Games, and all those big companies are over there. And there's always so much to do. There's always so many events. There's always so many meetups. And the community is so big to the point where it's competitive. Everyone's trying to get, like, you're not really all friends anymore just because otherwise you won't get noticed. But when I moved to Edmonton, the game development community here is really small and tight-knit. And everyone knows everyone else, and we're all friends, and we're all helping each other, trying to get some games out of Edmonton because it's so difficult to make games here. And I thought, there's got to be more to this. There's this little community, but they're not doing anything. There's got to be some kind of meetup or event or something to bring them together to help foster growth in that, and eventually get them to build games locally. Because a lot of these people, what's the options you have here? You can apply at BioWare. If you don't get hired, you leave the city, and that's a problem. That's why the community isn't growing big enough, because they don't know that there's more opportunities in Edmonton. So, I started these events, these meetups, those game jams, and now I see a lot of new studios forming here. Just in the past year and a half, there's been 6 new indie game studios come out and get formed in Edmonton just because of the events that we're hosting. Some of them met each other through these events, and it's fantastic. So I guess the reason I do this is just there is a bit of an ulterior motive here, and it's just the fact that down the line, when the gaming industry in Edmonton becomes profitable, then we can approach the city or investors and just show them, look, games are making money now in Edmonton. It's probably time to start diversifying, investing in this. So yeah, we do have plans for that, but ultimately it is all about the community, about growing the local industry.
That sounds amazing. I just know, and from the last time I talked to you, and a lot of the reason why we do a podcast is because we get the long form answers. When we do a video and we go on site, I got to cut it down to like 5 minutes. And when I talked to you last time, I could see how much passion that you had for game development and all this stuff that's happening in the city, and there was just no way I could properly show that. And this is the best way I could do it. And so I'm so glad you decided to come on to the show today, because yes, I really wanted to share you with the city, and basically say, hey, if you're excited about game development, get in touch with Andrew-David here, because he is super passionate about this community, and look, there's so much going on. If you are just wanting to just discover game development, now's the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just been just seeing you and your passion. Like I said, I had to bring you on, and actually and show everybody this. This is amazing.
Those are our favorite type of guests to have on.
It is
fellow nerds in the community who clearly love what they're doing. That's why we do what we're doing. To make sure that everybody else has a chance to hear about all the awesome stuff that the amazing people are doing in our community. So thanks for coming on.
Sure, anytime.
Yeah, like I said, this is one of those times where we get to talk to so many passionate people, and one of those people, obviously yourself, is one of those people, and I'm so excited to just even to know you, just even this little bit, but it's so great. I absolutely love it. It's amazing. But where can people find MADSOFT and find you on the web?
Obviously, we have our website, MADSOFTGames.com. We're also on Facebook and on Twitter. That's at MADSOFT for Twitter, and MADSOFT Games on Facebook. But also, I try to be as accessible as possible. So if there's any game dev hobbyists or enthusiasts or people who want to get into game development, I'm always open to answering questions. You can tweet at us or email us from our website, or post on Facebook. Even on Game Camp, if you have questions, you can post on there, and if not me, then someone will answer you. So yeah, I guess that's everywhere you can find me.
Awesome.
Now, before we wrap up completely, before we end, I kind of want to end on I like to toss these questions anytime we have any, I guess, game development, gamer, game enthusiast individuals on the podcast. So it's kind of a two-parter. What was the first game you ever played that sort of gave you your aha moment? Like, oh my god, I totally want to learn how to make stuff like this. And the second part is, what's the game you're playing right now that you just are like addicted to and can't walk away from?
I played a lot of games when I was young. I don't know if there's any specific one that really pushed me towards wanting to make games, but I do remember what really pushed me was I stumbled upon an online community, a forum for a game engine, an open source game engine called the OHR RPG CE, which stands for the Official Hamster Republic Role-Playing Game Creation Engine. And it's back in the 90s when internet forums all kind of looked the same, and that was the most popular place to build a community. And I learned that anyone can just make a game using an engine. Like, because before that point, I don't think I ever really considered the idea of how games are made. They just exist. Like, they're there, you buy them, and then you can play them. And
it was magic. They came on a box.
Yeah. That's it. They're just on the shelf.
Yeah.
I get one every Christmas. And so I found that, and I downloaded it, and it's an old engine that's built in DOS, using Dark Basic or whatever that programming language was called, and it's really what pushed me to, wow, maybe I can make an engine, maybe I can make a game. And ever since it was kind of a hobby until I turned it into a career. And for the second question, I'd say Shovel Knight. I mean, I beat it multiple times, but I'm still just playing it a lot. It's just so good. It's so balanced, and it's fantastic.
I think when I talked to you in like January, you were playing Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I still am. I've been playing it since it came out last year.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so I think that's just about it for us this week. Before we go, I'd like to make mention of a few events that are going to be happening over the next little while. And the first one is going to be International Tabletop Days at Mission Fun and Games. That's happening on April 30th. They're not doing Tabletop Day, they're doing International Tabletop Days as DAZE.
Oh.
So anyways, you can go to their event page at tabletop-events/conventions/International Tabletop Days. I will have if you go to our event calendar on our Northern Nerd Network website, go to the event calendar.
It's all
posted there. So yeah, you can follow
everything your nerdy little hearts could desire to do around Edmonton. It's all there.
Mm-hmm.
And a big shout out to our friend Kelly from the Nerd List, because we get a lot of our events from our calendar from the information that he passes on to us. So a big shout out to him. That man scours the internet dry for nerdy events in Edmonton. We wouldn't have nearly as many things on our calendar if it weren't for him. So thanks, Kelly.
Yes, he's a fountain of just nerdiness. But yes, I'm a little bit behind. I do have some more events to go up on that calendar, so stay tuned. There's some more stuff to go up there. But I also have to make mention that there's a game developer exhibition that's coming up here in the next little while. GDX-Edmonton.com. If you go there, it's on May 7th and 8th. You know a little bit about this, right?
Yes. It's the GDX actually stands for the Game Discovery Exhibition.
Yes. Sorry.
Because they didn't want it to be just developer focused. They want to make sure that people who enjoy playing games as well come to that. But yeah, it's a great opportunity for local indie developers, and it's a great place to discover new games and get to meet other game developers and see how games are made.
Is MADSOFT going to be there? Have any kind
Yes,
of
of
table
course.
or anything?
We're always there.
Obviously.
Yes, and we also have a movie premiere thing, Mental Case. I'm in Love with a Dead Girl. If you go to our event calendar, you'll find this one. This one is done by Edmonton based. I don't even know how. Brandon Reese from High. He's got Higher Universe Comics, and he's branched out into doing some filmmaking.
And his lovely leading lady for both of these projects, Afton Rents, is somebody that I know from Fight Directors Canada, and she's awesome.
Yeah, so a lot of the people who are in this movie and all this premiere stuff, they're from Edmonton, and it's going to be down at the Garneau. So go and check that out, and that's on Thursday, April 28th. And on top of that, we have Brandon Reese coming on our show next week. So stay tuned for that. Yes, it's going to be awesome. We're so excited to have him on, and he'll be talking about Higher Universe Comics and his new movie that he's got. Also, I'd like to just make mention of where you can find the Northern Nerd Network. You guys can find us all over the web at northernnerdnetwork.com, on YouTube at youtube.com/Northern Nerd Network, and on Facebook at facebook.com/NorthernNerd, and on Twitter.
If you tweet at Dan, he will tweet back to you immediately. So do it.
I will tweet back to you almost immediately. Sometimes I'm at work, so I can't. But yes, I am pretty good at getting back to everybody who tweets at us. But that's pretty much about it. That's all. I want to thank everybody out there for watching or listening to this edition.
Thank you so much to Andrew-David for coming out.
I thank Andrew-David for coming out on this edition of the Nerdcast. This has been awesome. I'm so glad you came on the show today. Like I said, we are so excited anytime we get passionate people to come on and talk about their projects and the fun things that they're working on. So yes, awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. And that's it. That's all. I want to thank you everybody out there for watching and or listening, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.